I'm confident that by now you're seeing the names in the Bible as more than names in the Bible. You're starting to see them as people like you, people who live just in a different time and a different place, but they're still your neighbors. And those people have something to teach us. We have some things that we can teach others. We can learn a lot just by watching and then by reading. That's what we'll do now. This neighbor that you see next, well, they're nameless. We don't know what their name is. Sometimes that can separate us from them even more. It feels like we don't even know anything about them, including their name. But Mark, as he wrote, he didn't include this person's name. It doesn't mean that this person wasn't important. It means that what happens to this person is even more important. It means that whom they watched is what is most important. From our neighborhood, let's go to another one. At the end of Mark 4, Jesus and those closest to him had just completed a rather stormy boat ride. If you haven't read that before, or it's been a while, go back and take a look at that. When we get to chapter 5, the bow of the boat has just come to the shoreline. Mark chapter 5, starting in verse 1. They went across the lake into the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills, he would cry out and cut himself with stones. The man with the evil spirits was probably living in a hole in a mountain, in a cave. That would have been a cemetery. That would have been his neighborhood. Why is he there? His name is absent, and a lot of description about him is absent, but we know a little bit. Sounds like the impure spirits, the evil spirits, causing him to do what isn't ordinary. He's not accepted anywhere, so he's been moved, or he's chosen to move to the mountains, to the burial ground. Why are some people today excluded from being around others? Why would that happen today? Why would they be somewhere else? It might be because of the outbursts. It might be the physical problems that the person has. It might be someone's appearance, someone's background. It might be because of the color of someone's skin. So many choices, so many things that can go on, and things that we wouldn't even think it would normally be. In a group of people, the one different is sometimes moved out. Where do people go today when they're not accepted by others? Where are some of the places that people go today? It might be out to the mountains. It might be outside of town, maybe a different town, maybe a different neighborhood. Maybe someone chooses a different job. Maybe someone goes to the street. It could be that the person disappears. They've made a choice they won't be seen again. When have you not been accepted? When have you not been accepted? Some of those things may be decades old. Other things may be as recent as this morning. When have you not been accepted? And what was the reason for that? What about you was seen as different? Now, what feelings does that question bring up? As you hear that about not being accepted, and you can think it was these times, Mark, what feelings does that bring up? Loneliness, being alone, it's lonely, is it not? The nameless man's situation is like that. Verse 6. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." And Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. What's your theology on evil spirits? What is your theology on evil spirits. How did evil spirits work in the time of Jesus? How would you say that happened? And do they still work that way today? And then what makes you say that? What other verses or illustrations or stories would you pull from? Your theology on evil spirits. Whatever your theology on evil spirits is, it surely includes this: they know God when He's around. Evil knows the presence of God. The presence of heaven spotlights what it can help. The presence of heaven spotlights what it can help. Verse 11, a large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them." He gave them permission, and the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. Those tending the pigs ran off and reported this in the town and countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there, dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Did you notice our neighbor? Before, he was running and falling in front of Jesus, and now he's sitting with Jesus. Before, he was shouting as loud as he could, and now he's quiet. Before, he must have had no clothes on, because Mark notes that he's dressed. Before, he was breaking chains, and now he's in his right mind. What else did this man receive besides healing? That one becomes obvious right as we read, but what else did he receive? What else did he receive besides healing? His freedom. He received a fresh start. He received a future. There's something out there for him now. But also, there's not a total absence of problems. Even though he met Jesus, everything is not necessarily going to be easy from here on out. And those around him, what did they do? Those around him, the other nameless people in the story, what did they do? Well, what often happens when people meet the unexpected, they were afraid. When you've made changes for the better, how did that scare the people around you? When you made changes for the better, how did that scare people around you? Maybe you quit cursing. Maybe you quit taking extra long breaks at work and it was noticed. Maybe you swore off alcohol. Maybe you swore off going back for seconds or thirds at the supper table. Did anyone treat you like you were still doing the wrong thing because you were doing what they didn't expect of you? What the man did next shows us how much he had been changed and how little he would be influenced by others. Those who had seen it told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man and told about the pigs as well. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he's had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. In verse 18, this man wants to bring the apostle count up to 13, but Jesus gives him a different direction to go. Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you. Go, tell. What did Jesus gain by having the man stay in the area? What was it that Jesus gained by having this man stay right where he was? He gained a witness. He gained a story. He gained a voice. Jesus was told to leave. Jesus was being cast out because he was different. But the man has the opportunity to stay. And he has a story to tell. He has a voice that will be doing much different things. Jesus can bring healing to any situation. That sounds very cliche, but is it not true? What has Jesus helped clean up in your life? What has Jesus helped clean up in your life? See, that takes us from our differences and how we're different than everybody else, and that brings us back to where we need to be, at the feet of Jesus. What has he helped clean up in your life? Think for a moment about those things. What is he working on right now in your life that he's helping you clean up? I want you to think in what ways you are like the man. See, if you've met Jesus, you've received healing. I really hope you've come to him for healing. We've received freedom, a future, and a clean start. We don't get a total absence of problems, and that's a good reminder. This man, as he talks in the Decapolis, in the 10 cities, in this area, in his neighborhood, if you will, his new neighborhood, things won't always be easy. He's going to be talking about the one that the people cast out of town, Jesus. That won't always be easy. This week, go out knowing you are healed. Remember what you've been healed from. All of those things, that thing, whatever it is, know that you've been healed. Also go out knowing you've been sent to tell. Go out knowing you've been sent to tell. You have something to teach others. Speak in Jesus' name. Because the presence of heaven spotlights what it can help. We learn that from our neighbor.